So you guys, it all began in 2019, okay, 2018, 2019. That's when I first started to get into the gym. And really, I had been inspired because I saw these guys online. I saw these guys on social media who were jacked, right, who were ripped. And I was like, I kind of want what they have because, they look confident, they look healthy, they look like they had an easy time, attracting girls. And for me, I was single at the time. So I was like, okay, well, it definitely helped with that. And I saw what they had and I wanted what they had. And my conscience was telling me, like, you need to get in the gym, you need to get started. And so I went to this local gym. Me and my friend went to this local gym. He went with me. He was kind of the first one to really start going to the gym, and then I kind of went with him. And we started to go together, and I was starting to make some good progress. I was working, training for probably 3 months. Somewhere in there, probably going like 3 days a week. But it was the first time in my life that I really had consistency. It was the first time in my life that I felt like I was really leveling up. I was really like growing as a person. Because here's the thing, man. The way I grew up, I was really an undisciplined guy. Let's just say that. Okay, I was an undisciplined teenager. I had way too much free time on my hands. I spent basically all my days, like whenever I could, playing video games. I do the minimal amount of academics that I needed to. Then I'd be off playing video games. Scrolling on social media, spending so much time on the internet, watching porn, all of the bad habits and vices, and just going after sugar. I was not training. I didn't have a regimented schedule, right? There was nothing that was really like routine based that I had in place. It was just really kind of doing what I wanted, kind of when I felt like it, right? Instant gratification mindset. And so me growing up that way, hitting the gym was the first time that I actually felt like I was doing something where I was intentionally disciplining myself and intentionally growing as a person, if that makes sense. And it was this feeling that I later became addicted to. And so I was going to the gym for about 3 months. I started to increase my deadlift. I started to increase this and that. And, I was working a job at the time. So I wasn't able to really just be like there all the time. But, I went 3 days a week, 3 days a week. And that was enough to really get me to start making progress. And I started to really make some good progress. But then COVID hit, right? COVID hit. And the thing about COVID, man, was like, at least where I live, okay, I live in Massachusetts. And so Western Massachusetts. So it's much more of a, how should I put this? It's a state where when COVID was going on, they had very tight restrictions. Okay. And so they had, like the vaccine mandates, they had the masks. And so for me at the time, with things going crazy and not knowing what was going on, I was like, all right, well, I'm not gonna, because some of the gyms were number one, shutting down. Then other gyms were staying open, but requiring you to get the vaccine. And I was like, dude, I don't know about this. Like, I'm not gonna go in and take this vaccine when I know nothing about it. And that's the other thing is like, that might offend some people because some of you might be like, oh, well, you should have done it. You should have done it because, everyone else was doing it and that's what makes people safe. But in my opinion, there's no, like, you shouldn't be forcing an individual to do anything they don't want to do, especially when it comes to putting something, in their body. You have no human being has authority over another person to force them to do something they don't want to do. And, if that offends you and you don't agree with that, well, then this channel is not for you. I'm not for you, and that's fine. Because I don't want to be around people who have the mindset that you should be forcing people to do things that they don't want to do. So that being said, they had that going on. I wasn't into it. I didn't want to do it. I wasn't necessarily fully against it, but I just didn't know what was going on. Everything was just way too crazy, and I wasn't about to go be a fucking lab rat for some, experiment. So basically, I didn't do that, and so gyms were shutting down. That was going on, and then the gyms that maybe didn't require it at the time, you had to wear masks and everything, and it was just such a pain in the ass to be trying to do heavy weightlifting while wearing a mask. It was just so difficult. So anyways, I decided, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And besides, I had plenty going on in my own personal life between my family and all the drama going on with that. And, working at the same time. It's just, I had plenty going on. So I was like, all right, forget it. This was a grave mistake. This was a massive, massive mistake because over those about 2 years, like the worst years of COVID, I wasn't training. I went back to the old habits. I turned 21, so I was able to start drinking. I started to get into drinking alcohol. I started to get into eating a lot more processed food. I started to, go back to some of the bad habits like, video games and porn and all these types of things that really just, your conscience tells you you shouldn't be doing it, right? Your conscience knows that there's a higher version of you that you could be, and yet these things still somehow seem to take control of you, right? And take control of your life. And so this was a massive mistake because I was on the rise, right? I was coming up, I was improving my life, I was becoming better. And then it was just like slam, I felt like I just got knocked down by this. And then I had all these other personal things going on in my life that made my life even more, stress out and intense. And so basically I was just like, all right, well, I'm not going to train. I was still doing outdoor stuff. I live in a rural area. So, I was still fishing. I was still, doing some hiking here and there, but it wasn't enough, right? It wasn't enough. And I knew something was off because, number one, I was working a job. I didn't really like the job, right? I was like, I don't really feel like this is in alignment with who I am. I feel like I need to elevate my skill set. And then on top of that, like, I just felt something was missing in my life. I felt like something was seriously missing. And so this whole story is to just tell you how when I decided to finally get back in the gym, when I decided to finally get back in, working on myself and getting back in the gym and getting jacked was literally the thing that saved my life. I could say it would change my life, which it did change my life, but even more than that, bro, like I believe it literally saved my life from going off the rails. And so I've told this story before, but basically towards the end of COVID, end of those 2 years, I was still working the same job. My mental health had gone down, my physical health had gone down. And we went to a vacation, right? We went on a vacation down to Florida because it's basically the closest place for us to go that's actually, warm. It's actually hot and, you're near the ocean. And so we went down there, we were on a trip, we went on a trip out to these islands. And I took a picture of myself and it was like one of those moments where you look at yourself and you're just like, this is not who I want to be. Like, I don't know if you ever experienced that moment, but you look in the mirror or you take a picture of yourself and you're like, this is not who I want to be. I can be so much more than this. I need to change. It was one of those moments where you see yourself, you feel the pain of seeing yourself, and your conscience is just telling you, it's time to level up, bro. It's time to go harder. It's time to lock the fuck in. And that's what happened to me in that moment. And in that moment, it really just inspired me like, okay, I got to change. I got to do better. And I really just decided to go all in. I decided to go all in and I went back home after that vacation. I looked around my local area for gyms and I signed up to one and I got to work towards, it was probably about a couple months afterwards that I really started to get going. But I started hitting the gym 6 days a week. I just started going hard. And I haven't stopped ever since, man. Since about 2022, I've just been going hard the entire time. And like, it's not even so much that like getting jacked in and of itself, like the external result changes, like that does change everything because people, the way society perceives you when you're jacked or when you're ripped, right? Like it's so different. Like people treat you differently because not only like your exterior is different, but your internal is different. Your mindset is different. Your confidence is different. The way you walk, the way you talk is different because you've changed as a person. You went from this guy, depending on your situation, who was fat, right? And who was able to basically change his daily habits and change his mindset to becoming a completely different person. And so that reflects because that's an internal process. That's not just external. People will talk about, oh yeah, well, they're always talking about all these like fucking like tactics and stuff. And it's like, those are important. The strategy is important. I'm not here to down the strategy because it is important. But what's more important is the discipline and the daily habits that you have to develop and the mindset you have to develop to get jacked. That's what's going to save you. That's what's going to help you to, like I said, when I grew up undisciplined, that's what helped me to quit all the bad habits. That's what helped me to quit alcohol. That's what helped me to quit, smoking weed and sugar and porn and all these instant gratification activities was the discipline that I developed, the mindset and the habits I developed from getting jacked. So getting jacked is the most important thing that I think men, especially young men, should be focusing on. If you're out of shape, if you're skinny, if you're fat, you should be working on changing that, bro. And the problem is we live in a society right now where everyone's like, oh, it's fine, body positivity and all this bullshit, complete bullshit. Like, think about it this way. If you were in a tribe, just say, I don't know, 500 years ago, whatever, you lived in a tribe. If you were out of shape, you were a liability, bro. You were a liability to that tribe. So therefore, within the tribe, your status is actually lowered because guess what? You can't contribute the same as everybody else. So now you're a burden to the tribe. So the reality is we all know that it's true, that that's still the case. It's just in today's society, we have all this technology that makes it so that it's not as apparent, right? You can be fat and still actually go about your day and, make the money you want to make and whatever. But internally, that you need to change. Internally, everyone else around you knows that you need to change. They just don't say it to your face. Instead, they lie to you and go, oh yeah, It's fine, bro. It's fine. Body positivity. You look amazing. You look great. Meanwhile, they're like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Internally in their actual brain, they're like, no. Like internally, they're like actually not really thinking that. They're just saying it because that's the politically correct thing to say. But if you know me, you know that that's not me. I'm not gonna fucking sit here and lie to you and pretend that that's the case when it's not, because I know it's not. Because I know the difference between being a guy who's out of shape. I know the difference between going from being like skinny fat to jacked. And I know the difference that it can create in your life. And I know the difference in mindset. And I know how much it changes the way that other people perceive you. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that and pretend like, oh yeah, dude, it's fine if you just stay how you are. Because it's not. We should always be improving. We should always be leveling up in every aspect. And this is the mindset that I've gained, bro. I literally went from just this kid, okay? This kid who was just, all he cared about was playing video games. All he cared about was instant gratification. All he cared about was just doing kind of what he wanted in the moment and just playing and having fun, to now adopting the mindset of continuous growth in all areas of life to become the highest version of myself. And that's what that process gave to me. It wasn't just the muscles that I gained, bro. Right? It wasn't just the physique and the six pack and oh yeah, of course that definitely helps. Like the girls definitely appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it when I see myself in the mirror. But that's the external. That's the work. That's the result from all the work you've put in. What's more valuable is the mindset that you now have. What's more valuable is the discipline that you've built, the daily habits that you've built, the ability to get rid of all the negative vices. And we see what's going on in the world, bro. It ain't getting no easier out here, man. Inflation's going up. The dating market is, it's so fucked. It's like, this is the world that we're living in. It's not getting any easier. So I don't think that there's really any excuse in 2024 for men to not be working on themselves, not be focused on becoming the best that they can be physically, mentally, spiritually, financially. There's no reason for you to be sitting there being fat. There's no reason for you to be sitting there being skinny and go, oh yeah, it's just fine. It's okay, bro. There's other things to worry about. Or we have all these people who try to cope in the comments and go, oh yeah, well, I'm fat, but I'm still rich. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Like, okay, congratulations, you managed to acquire and gather resources even though you're fat. Like, okay, so you still need to change, bro. You still need to level up. That's just one area. That's the problem, is society's so focused on materialism that they don't understand that there's more to life than just, getting fancy cars, bro. There's more to life than just having a big house or having a big bank account. It's your internal state that matters the most, and your body is a reflection of that internal state. So why not get your internal state corrected? Why not get your exterior corrected? Which is not only going to help you in the spiritual and mindset, but also going to elevate you financially. It's well known that people who are in shape have an easier time, like they make more money. That's well documented. You can go look that up, bro. So I think it's important that you get jacked. I titled this video, Get Jacked or Die Trying, right? And I think that holds true, man, because if I hadn't gone down that path, if I had not changed my ways and my daily habits, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And look, I'm not at some fucking peak. Bro, this is my habit tracker right here, okay? And every day I'm trying to just become the best man that I can, okay? I'm trying to stay away from alcohol. I still struggle. I'm trying to wake up early. I'm trying to, stay away from porn and weed and all these fucking vices that they put in front of us so that, we stay at a low vibration and never level up. I'm working on all that myself on a daily basis, and I don't always succeed. I don't always succeed, but I try. I do my best every single day, man. And I just really want you to take this message, bro, and be like, take it as an inflection point. Like, if you came across this video and you've been struggling, you feel like you don't have purpose, you feel like you don't know where your life is going, take this message and just go all in. Go all in on yourself. It's 2024. We're halfway through the year. It's like years are just going to keep going by and you're going to end up in the same position. You're going to stay in the same spot. So just take this information and just actually motivate yourself to go take action, right? Like, don't just watch this video and go, oh yeah, that was a cool video. Yeah. All right, on to the next 10 videos. Like, yeah, okay, if you're going to go watch another video, cool. But remember this, and remember to go take action today or tomorrow, right? Go actually take action. At least do some fucking push-ups today. At least do some calisthenics. At least start, download MyFitnessPal and start tracking your fucking macros, so you can develop some form of discipline. Because I can tell you this right now, if you're gonna stay in that same position, you're gonna keep the same daily habits that brought you to where you are right now, you're not gonna win, bro. because there are killers out there. There's a lot of people out there who are going hard every day, working on every single area of life. And the reality is, society's getting more and more divided. Everybody can feel it. You can feel it, bro. You can feel the pressure, right? So if you want to become one of those guys who is the highest version of himself, ascended to the highest level, has options in abundance in life, well, guess what? You got to put in the work. You got to put in the work. It's not just going to fucking be handed to you. No one's coming to save you. I can tell you that right now. No one gives a flying fuck, really, about what's going on in your life. Everyone's too busy worried about what they're doing. So what you have to do is you have to care about yourself and not be expecting someone else to come and save you, because it's never going to happen. It never happened for me. It never happened for me. I had to go on my own journey of searching this stuff out, of learning about personal development, about reading books. You see all my books back here? See all the fucking content that I've watched over the years, man? Like, I have gone on a journey of searching for knowledge so I could become the highest version of myself. Physically, yes. Mentally, spiritually, financially, I'm still working on that one. I'm working on building my own business and being able to escape, slaving away, doing something that I don't want to do. But it all starts. Like, a lot of you see these people online, right? These kids or whatever are like multimillionaires who are flexing all their material stuff. The reality is, if they didn't go through the work, that's all short-lived, right? And for those who did go through the work, that's the thing, is you have to go through the work first. You have to develop yourself first. How are you going to become, everyone's so focused on, oh, I'm going to get rich. How the fuck are you going to get rich when you can't even go to the gym 3 days a week? How the fuck are you going to get rich when you're still walking around and you can't even track your macros for more than one day? Like, if you do get there, you're not going to be able to enjoy it at the same way that I'm going to be able to, because I'm actually on a journey to become the highest version of myself in every area. That's the goal as a man. It's not to just max out in one area of life. It's like as if you're in Skyrim and you're just literally maxing out one stat the entire game. Like, that's just fucking stupid. Why would you do that? You're not going to go through Skyrim maxing out literally one stat the entire game. It makes no sense. You need to be a well-rounded character to make it through the quest, to make it through the journey. And so that's what you have to become, bro. So that's the message for today, man. That's the message for today. Get jacked or die trying, because it will change your life. It will set you on the trajectory you need to be on in order to become the highest version of yourself. Because if you don't, if you stay in the same place that you're in right now, you're going to continue to deal with the same pain that you've always dealt with, right? Whether it be you're single and you can't, you're struggling in dating, whether that be you just hate the way you look when you go on the beach, whether you just look in the mirror and you just hate the way you look, it doesn't matter. You have to take action. Action is the only thing that's going to lead you to change. And that pain that you have right now, that's what you want to use. You want to take that, you want to use that as motivation and fuel to go take action. So never give up, right? Always continue to work on becoming the highest version of yourself and ascend to the highest level.